not going to go out and apologise and say that to him.
Listen to Iron Maiden, baby, with me.
It's Listen to Iron Maiden, baby!
It is.
I'm Ash!
I'm Ante.
Who cares where we're from?
I like to know where we're from.
Where are you from?
I'm from New South Wales.
I'm from Wales. We say that because New South Wales, Wales.
Get it?
Is it old now? Is it funny? We are back, guys, after a
Yeah.
while. So...
Not my fault.
No, it was totally my fault
Mm.
because I have moved house.
Is that not a bad thing?
I had two things on, guys, right? So we haven't done a podcast in a while. Number one, like I wanted to prepare for this podcast, to get all the fun details as much as I can. And secondly, I moved house,
Mhm.
which is a huge thing in Japan. By the way, we live in Japan. This podcast is about Iron Maiden, two guys living in Japan.
Mhm.
I'm a huge fan. He's a little
I
fan.
am a fan. Yeah. Compared to you. Yeah.
Of course. And and that's the whole thing. But like I said, I moved house and living in Japan, moving is, well, pretty ridiculous.
Mm.
If you move to an apartment, it's like you got to pay like 3 months rent plus like thank you money.
Yeah, I've heard about this thank you money.
Yeah, like, cheers, mate kind of thing. It is ridiculously expensive. Plus, if you have a moving company, it's like, it's close to thousands of pounds,
Yeah. Especially at the time of the year too, right?
That's right.
mm.
But I'm all good now. And
Mhm.
secondly, I did have a gig, by the way.
Yeah, I went to it.
I'm a rock and roll star. Not really.
Mm.
That's right. No. So yeah, like I said, living in Japan, I had a band for a couple of years, just for fun. And what happened was the vocalist and drummer left, went back to the UK,
Mhm.
and so we stopped. But then the vocalist came back to Japan
Mhm.
for work reasons, and he's like, instead of just going to the pub,
Yeah.
why don't we do a gig? And I was like, oh, okay, but what are we gonna do with the drummer? Because it's quite a lot of
That's
songs.
right. Yeah.
But our other guitar player sorted out a drummer.
Mhm.
Very, very good.
I've got to say, like,
Yeah.
not to put anything down on the regular members.
Yes.
You guys are great.
Yes.
Hats off to the drummer, man.
Yeah, he's very good, very good, very good. And yeah, he did it all off an iPad, So I wrote all the scores written out for him, and he can just watch and play.
How many sessions did he get in with you guys?
We only did 2, I think.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Like,
We only had time for 2 because he caught like a virus and stuff like that. And
that's right. Remember you saying it
That's right,
might
that-
not
yeah.
be on, and then
yeah. Anyway, that's why we've been busy. Anyway, you came to the gig, Ante. It was first time seeing the band.
Yeah, it was
Did you
good.
enjoy?
It's good to see the other guys because
Mm.
I've probably known most of the other guys longer than I've known you.
Yes, that's
So,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't
No,
it?
it was good. It was good fun, man. Nice to actually. I've heard you guys,
Yeah.
but not live. So
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just like, hey.
I enjoyed it
Gameplay.
actually. It was really good. Like I said, because the drums were sorted out, it was okay. We can actually do this properly. But yeah, it was good. It was really good. But anyway, yeah, I'm all moved in, I'm all sorted. We are back for the podcast now. It's the beginning of the year in Japan, and we're gonna start with a banger.
Beginning of a new album.
No Prayer for the Dying.
Mm.
And the first thing to say, Adrian's left. He left the band.
Why, man?
Remember that documentary, the Metallica documentary, Some Kind of
Oh,
Monster?
yeah.
It's like, Jason left the band, dude. It's like that with Adrian. All right, guys. So we have gone from the beginning of time,
Mhm.
Iron Maiden time, to now.
Mm.
And in that time, we've gone through Paul Di'Anno singing, 2 albums.
Mhm.
We like Paul.
Yeah.
Not too sure about where he went after Maiden, but it is enjoyable to hear this.
Yeah.
Then we have Bruce. So we got new Bruce doing Number of the Beast. Wow.
Mm.
Then he does Peace of Mind. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Then they do Power Slave. Oh,
Oh,
you kidding
yeah.
me? Those 3 albums in a row is insane.
Mm.
Then they get all like, remember that thing we said about synthesizers? Why don't we do it, but with a guitar?
Oh.
Somewhere in time.
Yeah.
We went to see Iron Maiden in Osaka, where they played a bunch of songs from that album. Famously, Bruce never liked the album because of, he was all like, they don't want to play my critic song.
Fair enough.
But in hindsight, he's like, actually, it's pretty good.
Mm.
Then, of course, the last album we did, Seventh Son of a Seventh
Son.
Son.
You know what you want to do with that, right? You want to put a banging donk on it.
And they did.
Yep.
They put many a donk on that album.
Mm.
Fantastic album. Now, up until from then, from Bruce joining the band to Seventh Son of a Seventh Son is very consistent, classic era where the band are huge, gigantic. Seventh Son maybe going down a bit,
Much.
But it's not because of that, really. It's because I would say, obviously I wasn't alive, but at this time, Metallica, these other bands are
Yeah.
coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a metal guy, I don't know about you, but like when I first got into metal, I was like, oh yeah, I like Slipknot. And then someone's like, huh, you think that's heavy? Check out this guy. It's just about who can be the heaviest.
Who can tune the lowest?
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's what I get.
Yeah.
Metal guys are like that, right? And because of that, for sure, hearing Metallica when you've been into Iron Maiden for however long, it's going to be, it's pretty fresh, right? Sound and, heavy kind of thing. So, that is part of it too. I don't think Guns N' Roses are out.
Oh, yeah, man.
It's crazy, right? So let's look at the tour, right, before we start.
Mhm.
Now, opening bands for the tour were Guns N' Roses, Megadeth. Who the hell's that? Is that Saxon?
Yeah, I think so.
I can't really read it. Killer Dwarfs, Hurricane, Halloween. You like that?
Yeah.
Backstreet Girls.
Huh?
I want it that way. So the set list at this time was generally, Moonchild,
Mhm.
The Evil That Men Do, The Prisoner. We saw that. Infinite Dreams, The Trooper, Canopy with Madness, Heaven Can Wait, Wasted Years, The Clairvoyant, Seventh Son, Number of the Beast, Hallowed by the Name, Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills, Running Free, Sanctuary. Pretty good.
Yeah.
And tracks they only played at a few venues: Wrathchild, Still Life, Die With Your Boots On, Killers, 22 Acacia Avenue, and 2 Minutes Midnight. They started off with, it's called Charlotte and the Harlots World Tour, 1998. So I guess it's
the
a
Backstreet Girls.
secret gig, right? Yeah, kind of good. So they did Cologne, Germany. They have to test out the gig, right? And test out all the stuff. Do it in a secret show. Very, very cool. Yeah. So in 1988, they
A secret show. Back then, without social media and stuff, I mean, like,
yeah. So they go on tour in America, 1988, with Guns N' Roses, right? Now, let's be real. Guns N' Roses at this time were a new band. Anything with new bands, they're hot. They're, people are just totally into them.
Yeah.
But Appetite for Destruction, that's an album that will make you go, all right, we need to fucking step our game up here, right?
Exactly.
Right? Remember, we look at the days, right? That was the most important thing,
That's
right?
right, yeah.
So it was 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 20. So pretty good. A few days off in between, right? So, that was it. Zodiac, Mind Warp, and The Love Reaction. I guess that was one of these bands at the top, right?
Yep.
Whatever.
It's one hell of a name.
Yeah, it's a good name, right? So it goes all the way through, and there's bootlegs, things like that. They go down to America. Even these dates here, like 30th, 31st, 1st, 3rd. So in Canada, it's a bit smaller, so they can definitely have a few days off. But when you get to America, you gotta to make the money back, you gotta really be tight with it.
Yep.
You can see, look at that. It's like California. It's like Mountain View, Sacramento, Lee Hills twice, San Diego, Los Angeles. But, there's like a few days off, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, or 15, 16. So yeah, it's much tighter in America. But you could say that's probably where they're like, okay, guys, we'll smash America and then take a break in other places.
Yeah.
This one here, Guns N' Roses cancelled in Sacramento. Who knows why? Nico's birthday is there. There we go. See, look at this one. Hurricane. Hurricane was a last-minute replacement for Guns N' Roses. Now, if anyone knows why Guns N' Roses were not there, remember, guys, if you are enjoying the podcast and have anything to contribute, please email us at listentoimaidenbaby@gmail.com and Patreon.com/listentoimaidenbaby for $1 a month, and you can watch all the videos with no bullshit on them. And yeah, just let us know, guys. Please contact in some way. Like help us out here. Right? I want to know. I want to know these things.
Fill in the cracks.
Yeah, there's probably people out there who know why. So Hurricane stepped in for Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses are famously a band that are were a mess, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, well, but we'll see. Megadeth then. Oh man, it's pretty cool, right?
Mm,
You get to
yeah.
see Iron Maiden with Guns N' Roses, then see them with Megadeth, you know?
Mhm.
So that's more like in the East Coast area, I guess, Chicago and things like that. Was it 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 25th, 27th, 28th, 29?
Mhm.
They get a few days now and again, right? Then they're going on with Ace Frehley. Oh, look at this one in Allentown, Pennsylvania, cancelled due to poor ticket sales. Come on, Pennsylvania.
Wow. What are you guys doing?
I don't know, but like I said, it is kind of the band is big, but would you say
Mm.
that Megadeth and Guns N' Roses were contributing to a lot of the ticket sales,
Oh, I'd say so.
right?
Yeah.
And would you think that Ace Frehley was contributing a lot? Nothing against Ace Frehley. I love
Not like.
the guy.
Yeah.
But clearly, Iron Maiden fans at this time were
Mm.
big, but with Guns N' Roses or Megadeth, you'd guarantee to sell out.
Oh, that'd be a great show.
Right.
Yeah.
But with Ace Frehley, maybe not as much. Yeah.
Mm.
Look at this one down here in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
The opening band was a last-minute replacement for Ace Frehley's Comet and got booed off halfway through the gig. They didn't finish their set. Oh my god.
Wow, that's.
Okay.
Boo!
Yeah. Right. Look at this. Sabotage. For some reason, the Killer Dwarfs couldn't play that night, so Sabotage was called at the last minute and opened instead. All right.
Hmm.
All right, and then back to Charlotte and Harlots again.
Hey.
With London, England.
Mhm.
So look, they've started this tour in where was it? April, right?
Yeah.
April of 1988.
Mhm.
And by the time they get to the UK, it is August.
Mm.
That's a solid chunk of months, right?
Yep.
Then in the UK, they're doing Castle Donington, Monsters of Rock. Let's get into it, right? So Guns N' Roses, right? They're the new cool band.
Yeah.
And let's listen to this interview, right? It's quite interesting. With little Axel having a little interview. Oh, here's Bruce fencing, right? Now, let's be
Playing
honest.
with his foils.
Yeah.
There's all these amazing jackets. I mean, they're really very sort of, romantic and everything. And
Right. So it's basically Bruce just being Bruce, having a laugh and messing about stuff, right? Then when they get to Axel, he's drinking a Coca-Cola, like a full Coca-Cola.
I think that's the main difference. I mean, basically, the English people just like mess everything up,
Do you regard yourselves as similar in any ways to any of the other bands on the bill, or do you think
Maybe only in attitude in some of them. I mean, Ross done all kinds of material. I like Kiss in their early days. I think the only thing that we have in common with Kiss now is that, they like to make money and they like girls, but as far as their music go, basically their music's like second fiddle to their other.
That's fair, right?
He's saying it like it is, right?
Yeah. Like, let's be real, right? Kiss wrote a bunch of bangers in the early days,
Yep.
and then then they just play those over and over,
Mm.
which is what opposite of what Iron Maiden do.
Their desires. Our music comes first.
Our music comes first. That's right, Axel.
How many albums
Mm.
at that stage?
Yeah, and how many like asshole things he ever done in his life?
have you got anything in common with Iron Maiden?
I hope not.
Oh, I hope not.
Fisticuffs.
Right?
Yay.
And they've just been on tour with them and playing a festival with them.
Wow.
Why?
Yeah, you swig your Coke, Axel. You swig it.
I don't know. They're nice guys, but, it's like political organizations. Your band's like a political thing.
All right, political
Oh.
thing. So
Hmm.
when bands talk about politics and things like that, they're
Yeah.
talking about like how long stage time you can have.
Right.
When the red light beeps, get off stage, whatever.
Mhm.
They're not headlining yet, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
maybe that's what you're talking about, kind of thing, as being political or whatever.
Mm,
That's what I think.
And your music or your album's kind of like your political stance. Well, theirs is completely different than ours, and I think theirs doesn't have anything to do with rock and roll as far as I'm concerned.
Doesn't have anything to do with rock and roll. Now, let's be real. What the hell?
mm,
Right, what is rock and roll? Because if you're talking about like real rock and roll,
Yeah.
like it's just about like dancing, isn't it? You know, you know what I mean?
Letting loose, man.
Yeah. If you're talking about like the attitude of being like, these idiots who think like, when I was when I was like 17, everyone's like, okay, we got to get a bottle of Jack Daniels and,
Yeah.
you know, and they wear a black shirt and that's cool.
Yep.
And, you know, I think Axel's still in that stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rock and roll band. What they do is what they do.
Right, first of all, he's wearing a Guns N' Roses t-shirt too. So that's what Maiden do. So don't...
I don't know what it is, and I hope to never be like that.
I hope to never be like that. What?
Politics, eh?
I hope it's not catchy.
Izzy, were you going to say something there?
No.
No.
Having a wine.
Yeah. Anyway, so...
I like Guns N' Roses,
Me
right?
too. Axel is a bit of a dick, right? But
Yeah.
the thing, but whatever. Like he is how he is. But the thing is with Guns N' Roses though, but clearly the last album, right? So we have listened to No Prayer for the Dying, you know, a lot, right? So it's a huge difference, right, in the sound, right?
Yeah.
And the band as well. Like when you look at their image, etc. So when you look at like the back of the album, right, and they're all wearing black jeans, leather jacket. They're gone back to basics, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like gone are the spandex and all the color thing, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly that they've been affected in some way, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the funny thing is, Iron Maiden, Steve's always said that. Well, we've always done it our way, which they did. You know, in the beginning, they didn't cut their hair because they didn't want to be punk, right? They didn't want to sing. But the problem is that with anything massive, when you get to a point where like you know you're used to having a lot of money, and suddenly you know it's not going as well,
Right.
and you think, we got to update things, you know,
We got to chase the money.
right?
Yeah.
And it's not like they were doing that, but like they clearly in this album they've gone from like you know synths and you know huge sounding albums to quite a dry album, but like the first album, but that first album's got so much raw energy
Yeah. Yeah.
that it doesn't matter the production. Steve says that the production is bad on the first album. It might be, but it's still I can still listen to those songs over and over, and I love them. Whereas No Prayer for the Dying, they've gone raw, but maybe the sound is raw.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have that energy.
Yes.
And Bruce is not singing in the way that he usually sings.
Right.
It's all Adrian left the band, right? Because, well, let's look into that for a second.
Shall we?
There was a little interview recently.
Yep.
I burst out crying. Adrian Smith opens up on why he really left Iron Maiden. Admits he regretted the decision. Yeah, because Adrian had done a few things after, like, you know, solo stuff, ASAP, Adrian Smith something project. Oh my God, I'm embarrassed. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, but yeah, and you know, Adrian Smith has never done anything successful by himself. It's a shame.
I was gonna say it's kind of sad. Hey?
Yeah, no one's saying that he's not talented.
Yeah.
But within Iron Maiden, he's amazing.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it really shines. But he's never been able to do it by himself. So of course he regretted it. You know,
There's a bit of a kick in the gut. Say it's like I'm just gonna go off and do my own thing.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, we're not interested.
And he must have heard for years and years people saying like, "Oh, Adrian's he's that thing that makes him better, right?" And in a way, the last album, Seventh Son, it was amazing. He's involved. The next 4 albums are, you know, no matter what you say, they are lacking something.
Yeah.
And he's not involved. And when he comes back, it steps up a notch. Is that coincidence?
It's the Iron Maiden formula.
Yes. Steve writes a song and Adrian just delivers it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway, so what he says in this little interview is that the 80s were very intense for everybody. You've got to be mentally strong to get out there and perform every night. And I definitely had some issues. A lot of times I would repeat into myself, but sometimes I just completely freaked out. So clearly, the tours, the touring and all that kind of stuff, right? I started to feel like I was stifled in the band. I didn't know what I wanted to do. The band had to take action. They sat me down and said, "Are you into it? You've got to be 100% into it. I'm going on tour for another 9 months."
Right.
So that was it. It wasn't like I said, "Right, I'm leaving the band." There was a lot of agonizing. And like I said before, things are not always black and white. Exhausted from touring. And then when they go to write a new album, they're like, "Let's just go back to where we were."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, are you serious?" Like, you know? And I'm sure he heard some of the songs that were going to be on the album. And he's like, I could probably do better than that.
Yeah.
You know? Possibly. He's out of the band, got married, had kids. And in 1992, he did come back on the stage with the band at Donington Park.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he stayed in touch with the band, but it's a weird situation where Yannick is in the band now. Yannick, yours
yeah.
joined the band, guys. From who? Well, we it's funny because Yannick's band was also on that like original demo thing they did, right? So
Yeah.
he's always been floating about, and he
Mhm,
did
mhm.
Bruce's solo albums, which we will do at some point as well.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how he got involved with the band, right? But then the thing is, there's that he's in the band, and they're like, we can't really, we can't just kick him out right now,
Yeah, yeah.
So why not have 3 guitar players?
Ahoy!
Makes sense to me. Anyway, so
So he left, but it wasn't like
yeah,
screw you guys.
no, they're just like, are you like? I'm sure Steve is a very touchy about on stage as well.
Yeah.
Like he had to go with Bruce for like not being like giving his all on the stage, only when there's a
Mm.
camera there, or whatever kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
In the next 2 albums,
Mhm.
because Bruce is tired of it too,
Yeah.
and Adrian too. They want, if you're doing an Iron show, you got to be on the stage, rocking out,
And if you got stuff going on in your
Yeah.
head, that's hard to do, man.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And then you got bands like Guns N' Roses, Metallica, all these other bands coming up. So Iron Maiden have this. Okay, this is what I don't get about the album too, right? Is that they've said, right, we want to. Well, we'll read an interview in a second.
Mm.
But basically, they're saying we want to go back to the old sound, basic sound kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
But like they start off with Tail Gunner,
Yeah.
which is like a Aces High throwback.
It's not really going
It
back.
doesn't make
kinda
sense,
like
does it, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when I first heard this album,
Mm.
it was because when I was like 17, I got into the band and I just bought every CD, and I was just like, I would play Star Wars Battlefront and listen to My Maiden, right?
Yeah.
And this album, I was one of the first ones I bought, and I was really into it,
Mhm,
but I hadn't actually heard the other albums yet, and I think it's good. I enjoy it because you got that connection with it.
Yeah.
But when I heard, when I learned about all the history and all the stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, we want to go back to the basic. We want to do like a new update the sound, whatever. But then they start off with a song which is like trying to be Aces High.
Yeah.
Like a Timo version or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then the songs after Tail Gunner are quite different, like really different. But they start off with that thing.
Yeah.
So they're like, it's like the problem is they're too afraid to like go all the way.
Mm-hmm.
They're still like, we gotta let's start off with Tail Gunner,
Mhm.
which is like, oh yeah, it's an Iron Maiden album, and then we'll do that stuff. But like they're half in, half out.
Mm,
And when you do that, it doesn't really create anything that's
yeah.
good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's only later in the future now where they decide to just go, fuck it, let's just go back to being real to ourselves, whatever.
I think you really hit it on the head there. Really
Yeah.
just hesitant with what direction they want to
yeah,
go.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Yeah. And we thought album song placement is very important.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they clearly put Tail Gunner first because they're like, okay, safe thing. And yeah, so it's very strange. But like for sure, Guns N' Roses, these are the bands definitely influenced them with their comments about like, oh, they're just old, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
mhm.
And can't blame them for it. But they're still on tour for Seventh Son, right?
Mm.
Before we actually get into the band, guys, let's check out something I thought was fantastic.
What?
This is one of the commercials that they did, right? For keeping your seatbelt on.
Vince, come on, we're late. This headbanging is more fun than going through a windshield.
Good night from Iron Maiden. Drive home safe. Remember to strap yourselves in with your safety belts. You don't want to end up like Eddie. Belt up. Don't be a dummy.
Belt up. Don't be a dummy.
I did not see that coming.
Right.
Like, seriously.
It's fun because like they're not selling anything.
Right?
They're
It's
just
like, what is
saying,
it?
put your seatbelt on.
Public service announcement.
exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's so them though.
Mm.
Like it's not like they don't do like Adidas things like that. Not full on like we're promoting it.
Mm.
But they will do one about put your seatbelt on.
Strap in.
It's funny, right?
Mm.
But even Bruce there at the end is like, to do a commercial like that, it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. Yeah, I really like that one. So this album too has a fantastic little documentary, which is called No Prayer on the Road, 1991 documentary. It's Japanese, of course, which is great, and I love that that guy, the Japanese guy, this guy.
Yeah.
So when he meets, that's it, Ito-san, Masahito. So he's in Newcastle watching the band, and he bumps into Nico, and Nico's just like, "Oh my blah blah blah." And he goes, "There's no way he understands a word he fucking said." Right?
To go to the dentist. So you brought the reprobates with you then, eh?
In Japan, right, they do study English quite well,
Yes.
like proper English, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
So if you spoke to them in a textbook, perfectly sentence, they might understand you.
Yeah.
But for Nico to do what did he do there? Dentist, right? This is absolutely hilarious, right? So here he goes. So it's one of those things people do when they're nervous about, they get a bit feely, whatever, and then it instantly changes.
So you brought the reprobates with you then, eh?
Right. Another thing about, we live in Japan, right? So in Japanese language too, they just don't have this kind of joking thing where reprobates, like, you're saying, "Oh, you got a bunch of bad guys with you," right? You know, like there's no he understands what that word means, right? But
This old camera boy, he was at the back of the drum kit earlier on. I think it was him, getting in.
Nico, open your fucking mouth so you can understand what he's saying.
Well, it was with him. No, he wasn't up there actually. So you all right then?
Nervous laugh.
Yeah.
All right then.
Are you taken care of, boys? Yeah.
See, if you said, "How are you?"
Hey, would have probably got an answer.
Well, understand.
Yeah.
But British people, you go, "You all right, Ed? You all right, mate? You all right, mate?" They don't really know that yet, yeah.
I've just got to go and see a few of the people. So, hi, how you doing, everybody out there in the old visual world and all that good stuff? I'll see you later. Okay. All right, see you in a bit. Where are we going then, mate? Down here, mate, to the left.
So he probably understood that, just that last bit.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal, right? Anyway.
Oh, what's that going to fall over?
Making the Iron Maiden record a lot more because I'd made the solo album.
Yeah, so around this time before this, he'd made the solo album for the movie Nightmare on Elm Street, Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, which is a Bruce song.
All right, didn't know that one.
Yeah. And then Steve was like, "That's a pretty good song. Let's have it."
Yeah.
And they did an Iron Maiden version of it. And Bruce talks about it in his book too as well, but we'll get to that at some point.
I used to be scared shitless of Freddy Krueger.
Really?
But that's because when I watched it, I was really young.
Yeah.
We always had these cousins that would always put horror movies on. We were all young. And then it's like you rewatch it and it's like, not that scary, is it?
Is he a paedophile?
I don't think so.
Or just
I
kills
think he's
kids?
just killing kids.
Really?
Possibly a nonce.
Is he a nonce? Let's Google it. Is
Freddy Krueger a nonce?
Krueger a nonce? Oh, wait. Great Reddit post here. Freddy Krueger, child killer versus child molester. All right. Wait. No, wait. Next one. Is Freddy Krueger a pedo? Okay, well, I'm curious too. In the remake, he's confirmed as a pedo.
Oh, really?
In the original, it's implied.
Well.
Oh, they didn't want to okay. Because, why would he kill... Oh, no. Wes Craven has confirmed it multiple times.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, see, that makes it worse now.
I was going to say, that got darker.
Yeah. Like, he's a cool character.
And
cool
then
horror guy, but if he's noncing kids, I can't be watching that. No, don't be scared of him, mate. Well, actually, be scared.
Now I'm scared.
No, you're really scared, actually, yeah. Anyway, so this documentary, we'll get to these documentaries. Oh, let's listen to Yannick talk, right?
I think it's a valuable lesson to a lot of other bands. If you stick at it long enough and you believe in it and you totally believe in what you're doing and you keep that direction, then at the end of the day, there's a possibility that you can go out and play these sort of gigs and hopefully.
Yeah, well, that's not really what's happening here, Yannick. Because they've changed up a bit for the reason of not being oldies, right? So,
everyone can enjoy it. And, that was the impression I got from it. At that time when I was with White Spirit, I was totally interested in what I was doing with White Spirit. As you are, whatever band you're in, you give 100%. You know, so and that's what I'm given to Iron Maiden now. And I always enjoyed it. It was good. And I knew Bruce he was in Samson. And we were all crossing paths all the time, you know, which is good.
Yeah, see, so Bruce being in Samson, it bumped into White. You know, they all know each other. That's why it's interesting. Even Adrian knows Yannick. So, you know. Around this time, early 90s, is when, you know, cameras and things like that are more easy to carry. So there's much more media of Iron Maiden, which is very, very cool. But it's fantastic. But mate, I found a nice interview with Dave Murray and Nico McBrain in November 1990. So about, you know, it's a big thing, man. Adrian leaving. I don't want to brush over it because we know the reason why now, you know, whatever. But it is interesting to hear the what people said. So it says here, right? Why did you decide to go back to your roots, right? Now, to be fair as well, asking Dave Murray anything is a bit pointless because he just doesn't care either way. He's just more about like, just play guitar and smile. Have a lovely little smile. What happened is that we found ourselves in the same state of mind as at the beginning, with the same thirst for success. Yeah, because Guns N' Roses are fucking blowing up, that's why.
Good point.
The same rage as we had 10 years ago, but this time with the experience that you get from 10 years of successful career. Do you find it funny to see Holy Smoke, the first single, go to the top of the UK charts, whereas the radio refuses to air it? Now, Holy Smoke is funny to me that got, you know, people were like, it is kind of catchy. Holy Smoke. Oh, but, you know, I know. Yeah, Dave Murray does the joke, which is funny. He did this joke in 1990, right? British radios aren't used to hearing bands with real instruments anymore. I mean, people have been saying that like forever, right?
How long
you know
ago?
What I mean? Like, oh, there's no real music anymore, right? Yeah. How did you react to Yannick Gers joining the band? And I thought it's interesting because Dave and, you know, Adrian are friends for a long, long time. So a bit weird for him, isn't it? Like, but he says, about halfway through the first song, I knew he'd fit in. The whole band felt the same way too. Then we played Iron Maiden, The Prisoner, and Children of the Damned, and that was great. Mostly that Yannick only had 24 hours to learn them. Afterwards, we were all silent for a moment, motionless, looking at each other. All you could hear was the buzzing of the amps. That's a moment that meant a lot to us. Dave, how did your collaboration with Yannick Gers go? How did you share the solos? Now, sharing the solos, at this time there's only 2 of them. Right. Nowadays, there's 3 of them, and they do share the solos. But not that I don't like Yannick, but I would like to see Adrian play some solos that he did. You know? It's just a bit weird, you know. Dave says, at first we recorded separately. Then we decided to work together on the solos so we couldn't play in the same tones. Then we worked on the harmonies together. It was the first time that Yannick was playing with another guitarist. Before that, he'd only collaborated with keyboard players. Yeah, in his other band, he was only playing with just the one guitar player.
That's different, yeah.
Yeah, and then they ask him, what's the difference between Dave and Yannick's way of playing? Yannick has a much more aggressive style, whereas Dave is incredibly precise. He plays in a more fluid manner. I can tell a solo from Dave or Yannick because of the different approach. Iron Maiden fans, big ones, can really, really tell. Dave Murray's solo is easy to tell.
Yep.
A lot of legato, a lot of...
Yeah.
Adrian's is pretty easy to tell in the context because it's more, you know, just feels a bit more
structured,
melodical, structured, etc. Right? And he pretty much plays the same thing every time. Dave doesn't.
Sounds trained.
Yeah, he does sound very trained. Yannick, on the other hand, is just like, when we go through the albums, you know what I mean? But like, wild.
Yeah.
Like, almost like, is that in key? You know, sometimes. He's a bit of both, you know?
Yeah.
And he also is great on stage, running about and all that kind of stuff. So it's weird because we're doing it by album, you know? So if we judge it on the albums, not the live performance, anything like that, Yannick is very, very different to Dave, but closer to Dave than Adrian, I would say.
Okay, yeah.
But like a sloppy Dave. Big sloppy Dave.
Doesn't sound nice, does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Gave him a sloppy Dave.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they said, have you seen Adrian since he left? Dave said, I've seen him once or twice, and he looks happier than ever. Now he's free to do whatever he wants. You know, he's always been involved 100% in whatever Iron Maiden did as long as he was happy with it. Adrian remains a friend to us all. And Nico says, the band is like a family and we'll miss Adrian. It's always hard to part with somebody you've worked with for so many years, but the decision had to be made. Adrian is a great guitarist, a brilliant songwriter, and a very good singer. for the moment, he feels a bit lost. But once he gets musician he needs,
That interview, is that still pretty early?
Yeah,
The
I think.
break.
Yeah, I think the album's already out, but it's not like it's pretty. I think they've always been cool. It was never like that, So, but it's very sad that Adrian's not involved.
Mhm.
But
It's just interesting to think like what's Adrian's state of mind at that time. Like, okay, then he's probably working on his stuff, totally different. and-
yeah, he's doing his. I guess I think he's totally burned out at that time.
Yeah.
He's just out of it, whatever, right?
Mhm.
But he will be back at some point.
Yeah.
And doing his other stuff too. But for then, he's left the band. Yannick Gers is in. We'll do a little bit about him next week, is when he comes into it. But today it was just like I said, we've been a while. Let's just prep up the album, start it. So here we are on the old ironmaidencomedy.com. No Prayer for the Dying, released 1st of October 1990.
Yep.
Now, let's look at what he says here in the notes.
Yep.
The first thing to say about No Prayer for the Dying is the departure of Adrian Smith and his replacement with Yannick Gers. It was sad to see Smith go, but both for his playing skill and his songwriting talent. However, the show must go on. And it does. Many fans dislike the album, and I can understand many of the reasons why. With a few exceptions, the songwriting is a bit weaker, and the lyrics are somewhat shallower than on the previous album. A lot of jokes and, trying to be clever on this album. Not bad, but, it's very clear that they're not, I don't know, some of the lyrics in some of these and some of the song we get to is very, I'm like, oh, okay, what is, and another thing too is I'm not a big lyrics guy, but when you, if you said, for example, I'm big like an elephant, makes sense, whatever, at least I get it.
Right.
But on this album, I'm just like, what does that mean? It's a lot of weird things. I'm huh? In addition, Dickinson appears to be experimenting with a different singing style, which is rougher and raspier than before. This is not necessarily bad in itself, of itself, but I still prefer the clear and powerful style of the past. Me too.
Yeah.
Right, Tail Gunner, he does a bit of, fly into the sky, na 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 na,
To trick everyone.
Tail Gunner.
Oh, just test it out, yeah.
It's not bad, right? But once again, it's fine. It's just different, isn't it? It's a different thing. You get everything, but even on No Prayer for the Dying, the song, I would just prefer to hear clean Bruce on it. It would have been much better, in my opinion. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to do, but it is
interesting.
Yeah, and the thing is that he says here, many people believe that Iron Maiden abandoned the synths for this album, but they didn't really. They're in the back. You can hear them with a good set of No Prayer of the Dying, Fate's Warning, Mother Russia.
Yeah,
there's a lot of it's still there, but it's not
not in your face, just more of a little
more in
layer.
the background.
Yeah.
Exactly, more layer, right? What's this? 1990, right? So let's do my favorite thing. Metal albums released in 1990. All right, so let's look at the. So in 1990, let's look at newly formed bands, right? Let's go down and see if anyone we can really know.
I mean, there's a lot. But
all right, Converge as a band I like. Crazy Heavy. Any metal bands, massive. In Flames. Do you like In Flames?
I don't know In Flames.
So they got this amazing song called 666 In Flames, right? Right. Let's play this, right? All right. I just love the sound of the song. I love the sound of this.
Yeah.
Six. Anyway, I love that. I love this band. Love this song. Very good band. If you see any bands that you like, man, let us know.
Yeah.
Marauder. Do you know Marauder?
I know the name.
Right. This is one of the fucking one of my favorites. They came to Hiroshima.
Oh, really?
2 years ago, maybe more. I went to see them, and I was just in this little club.
It's a big turnout, or
quite big,
wow.
But it was fucking awesome. Right? Okay. Okay. The breakdown is just so amazing. Here we go. To see him nailed to the cross. It's the downfall of Christ. Okay, hardcore. So hardcore bands were like in the 80s were like Black Flag and things like that, which are really punky, but like. And then the metal guys are like, that's pretty cool actually. Like Metallica.
Yeah.
Metallica were into like what's that band? Misfits. You know?
Yep.
And they blended that with metal and it gets hard, you know, this hardcore thing, you know?
Yeah.
And bands like Marauder, it's the downfall of Christ. Yeah. Or like
Probably the nicest people you've ever met.
insane, right? Right. Yeah, it's so good. Not many of the bands I know that very well here. Oh, Tool. Well, all right, and they win.
Pretty much.
That wins.
And I think that the albums that came out in that year is a good one to look at, though.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now, here, look at the albums, right? So
here we go.
So we've got AC/DC, The Razor's
Edge. Yeah.
Now, that's pretty shit, though, but it does have Thunderstruck on it, right?
So that just...
Yeah.
That's fine, then.
Exactly. Alice in Chains, you're a big fan of them?
So. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really big into them. Anthrax. What else came out here? What are we looking at? Oh, Biohazard.
Oh,
I like Biohazard. Good background vocals.
Yeah.
Howard Beach. So good. Oh, Black Sabbath's got their
Sabbath.
weird little album there. It's not even Black Sabbath, it's just bloody Tony Iommi. John Bon Jovi.
Blaze of Glory.
Cannibal Corpse got an album.
Yeah.
But right now, I can't see any like bigger albums. Oh, there we go. Bruce Dickinson. That dude, millionaire. His first album came out at the same time. Now, look at these songs.
Is this an acoustic one? Or?
Yeah, look at see, on the guitar is old Yannick Gers playing guitar.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, there is a few. Let me just off the top of my head. Son of a Gun is a great song. Tattooed Millionaire is amazing.
Yeah.
This album is really, really good, you know? You would know your entourage. Born in 58, that's kind of a acoustic one. It's like a biography. Born in the mining town in 58. I don't know many others. Oh, Darkness Be My Friend. That's like a really bedroom acoustic song.
Yeah.
Cold sunshine falling on me. It's really weird. Sin City AC/DC cover. That's pretty fucking cool. Oh, Extreme Pornography. That was big, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that was, hey.
What's that song they did? It's just like... see, I was confused, right? It was like Extreme are an amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
But they just had that song, More Than Words, right?
That's them,
More
right?
Than Words. And I was like, what the fuck? And then you see them actually play guitar. You're like, whoa, those guys are amazing.
Yeah.
But they're known for that little ballad, aren't they? Gua is out there. I can't really see. Oh, Judas Priest, Painkiller. Right. There we go. See? Another example of a band going, fuck it. We need to grow up. Yeah. Get heavier, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Pantera had Cowboys from Hell.
That's big.
All right. That is pretty big, but.
Poison?
Were they massive? Oh, I mean, Poison, Fresh and Blood. All right. Fair dues. Pantera, Cowboys from Hell.
Yeah.
Imagine hearing Seven Son of a Seven Son and then hearing. And of course, you're going to be like, this Iron Maiden stuff is soft, baby. Megadeth, Rust in Peace. Uh-oh. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's an Iron Maiden show,
but come on.
It's in
You
the
know what
back.
I'm saying, though, right? It's like these bands with this new heavy sound, right?
Yeah.
And Iron Maiden are, still doing what they're doing, which I love, of course. You love, but, it's not the downfall of Christ, is it? Oh my god, I love these hardcore bands. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's what happened, man, in 1990, and Iron Maiden came out with this album. Now, next week we'll talk about the cover, and we'll go into the first song, "Holy Tail Gunner, Holy Smoke."
Yeah,
and then what we'll do, guys, we'll go through the album, and then we'll probably watch that documentary a little bit, a little bit of things we can watch on the album, and then take our time and enjoy it. But Tail Gunner, written by Steve Harris and Bruce Dickinson. Now, very confusing for me, this song.
How so?
Just because, they're trying to be all different and new.
Yeah.
And then the first song is a flashback. You could say the label probably forced them to do it. We need a song that sounds like Iron Maiden first.
Yeah.
Then you can do what the fuck you want. Now, off the top of my head, almost from the first album up to Seven Son of a Seven Son, if you said a song, I could probably hum it to you in some form, right?
Yeah.
Just say a song off one album, right? And I'll hum it, right?
Okay.
Let's see if I do.
Phantom of the Opera.
Easy. Next album. Choose one.
Okay. Give me Run to the Hills.
Do do do. Boo boo boo. Bow bow bow.
That's probably pretty easy.
Next album.
Let's go with
Oh, you forgot Killers. Give me one of Killers.
Killers. Oh, didn't I do one?
No.
Okay. Give me Prodigal Son.
Do 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 do. There we go. Okay, give me one off Peace of Mind.
Peace of Mind. What do we got? Give me Quest for Fire.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, just to give you the shits, To Tame a Lamb. No, that's okay.
No, don't do that one. Next album.
What is this?
Power Slave.
Flash of the Blade.
Next album.
Heaven Can Wait.
Right. And it's 1 off 7, please.
Give me Moonchild.
Oh God. Do 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 do. Anyway, okay, right. Now.
Yep.
What I'm saying, my point is that I can pretty much hum any song. I know. When you said the title, I can see the song in my head, hear it in my ear head.
Yep. My third eye.
Yeah, but on this album and also Fear the Dark, there's something about the songs where like sometimes I'm like, all right, Tail Gunner I know easily.
Yeah.
Right. Holy Smoke, yep. Do. But No Prayer for the Dying, Public and No Prayer for the Dying. I'm a little bit. I know it's a. I know that melody, right? But Public Enema #1, Fate's Warning. I'm which one is which? I do get a bit confused.
Yeah.
Running Silent, Running Deep. I only remember because the chorus. Running Silent, Running Deep. Hooks in You. Once again, the chorus. But the rest of it, I'm like, what the fuck does it go like again? Bring Your Daughter, of course. Mother Russia is such a weird song that it's impossible to mistake.
Yeah.
But Public Enemy #1 and Fate's Warning are two songs which I'm like, I can't see them in my brain. But when I hear them, I'm like, oh yeah, I know this one, right? The next album, which is Fear the Dark, almost, I would say, Fear is the Key, Childhood's End. I'm like, oh, which one is that again? Apparition. I'm like, I can't lock onto them for some reason. Even though I spent a ton of time listening to them, but I don't know why. I never have been. But we'll do that next week anyway. All right, guys. So, yeah, thank you for that. If you enjoyed the podcast, email us at listen@gmail.com with anything that contributes to the podcast. Whatever anyone asks us, we'll read it out. And if you want to watch the full episodes in video with no problems or anything like that, no cuts from YouTube, etc., patreon.com, listen@baby, and it's for $1 a month, and you can everything there. We'll be back next time with the first song. Well, first two songs probably. And welcome back. I'm glad to be back, guys. Yeah? We're all settled now.
And once again, thanks to the patrons again.
Thank you very much, Patreons.
Legends.
You're the legends. And you're a tail gunner. You're a tail gunner.
Yeah.
Catch you next time.
Later.